exposed the FBI's plan in the Donald Trump Mar-a-Lago raid from 2022. Now, as it turns out, the FBI was given the green light to use deadly force in Donald Trump's home if necessary. Now, I want you to think about this for a second. The go signal seemingly coming from the Biden administration. Joe Biden's administration gave the FBI permission to have a shootout at Melania Trump's home. I mean, can you believe this, guys? You should be outraged at this point. But it gets worse. The woke news media says that this has led to many conspiracy theories from Republicans. Conspiracy theories? I mean, although it's kind of hard to it's hard to blame them, as the optics of this looks incredibly awful, because Joe Biden, the incumbent president, basically said that it was okay for the FBI to use deadly force on a political rival. In this case, we're talking about Donald Trump here, right? And this isn't just any old political rival, guys. This is Donald Trump, a former president of the United States of America, who, by the way, is leading in the polls. I mean, this is freaking terrifying. Now, the FBI is defending themselves, basically saying that this is nothing out of the ordinary for them. Oh, okay. So you just blast into Donald Trump's home anytime, like all the time? Like, this is not out of the ordinary? Really? And that this language is used for all raids all the time. Really. But if you think about it, when was the last time that a raid happened inside the home of a former U.S. president? I mean, think about it. How many times has a raid happened in Joe Biden's home, right? Michelle and Barack Obama's house. How about Bill and Hillary Clinton? Maybe, right? And this is the exact same question that a lot of people are saying. This is the same question that we keep hearing from a lot of different analysts and experts. By the way, guys, if you haven't already, please do me a quick favor. Hit the like button for the video. I totally appreciate you guys. Thank you for subscribing to the channel and sharing these videos. You guys are absolutely amazing. It totally helps out the channel. And I just really appreciate you guys. But check this out. Take a listen.
Okay, so the FBI is responding to this. They're saying this is standard protocol wording, the way we worded this search warrant. The problem is that this isn't a standard raid. So what do you think about this, and what should have happened here?
So, Carly, I was in trial with President Trump all day yesterday. We walk out of trial and then get this news. And how upsetting is that, especially to all the great men and women of the Secret Service who were in Mar-a-Lago? It was a safe place. I've been a part of executing multiple search warrants. Nothing about this was standard. It was a siege by land, by sea, by air of Mar-a-Lago. There were other federal agents there. Nothing about this was normal. Yet we've heard now that they even had medics and EMS there in case there could have been a shootout. Can you believe that? No, nothing about this was standard. What you do is you coordinate with other federal agencies before you go in there.
The
Guys,
FBI
keep in mind, guys, this is all for like a box of papers. This is all for a box of paper. Can you imagine if Trump or Melania ended up getting shot in the middle of this FBI raid by accident? You know what I'm saying? Like, unbelievable, guys.
What you do is you coordinate with other federal agencies before you go in there.
The FBI, in response, said, quote, FBI followed standard protocol in this search, as we do for all search warrants, which includes a standard policy statement limiting the use of deadly force. No one ordered additional steps to be taken. So what you're saying, Pam, just to be clear, is that statement really isn't the full truth, because this isn't normally how it has worked, at least in your career, when you've done something like this.
Well, when you're executing, it's nothing about this is normal. When you're executing a search warrant and you have a coordinating federal agency, you coordinate with them. You are on the same team, even though they are protecting the president. The president wasn't at Mar-a-Lago. That was why they chose to execute the search warrant then. And remember, Mar-a-Lago is one of the most secure places in the world. Listen, if they were looking for a serial killer who they thought was hiding there, yeah, it's maybe a little different. But they were looking for a box of documents.
So what was the thinking here?
Unbelievable, guys. Now, you know, maybe the FBI was being very careful. I'm trying to give them the benefit of the doubt here. Maybe they were being very careful. Maybe they expected those boxes of documents to suddenly shoot back or something. I don't know, you know. But all kidding aside, guys, I mean, like, how crazy would it have been if the FBI had a shootout with the Secret Service placed to protect former President Donald Trump and Melania Trump? You know what I mean? Like, and Trump himself has responded to this through Truth Social. So the former president called out crooked Joe Biden and said that the Department of Justice, basically saying that this further proves that the raid in Mar-a-Lago was illegal and it was also unconstitutional. He added that President Joe Biden is showing himself to be a very serious threat to democracy and that he's mentally unfit to hold his office as president of the United States of America. Donald Trump also went on, he ended the post with the 25th Amendment, or the Presidential Disability and Succession, suggesting that President Joe Biden is no longer fit to hold his office. What do you guys think? Please drop me some comments down below, guys. This is absolutely crazy. It's wild. It's concerning. It's terrifying. Donald Trump, though, he is being corrected about the situation. So with the Biden administration basically saying that he just didn't understand what the term deadly force meant. Now, I'm not really sure how that could have actually meant anything other than what we take it as for face value. Like, what does deadly force mean to you guys? Like, we said deadly force, but you didn't understand what we meant by that. Wait, is there some other alternative interpretation of this? Like, what in the world, guys? So the FBI is now saying that the policy stipulates that deadly force may be used only when necessary. And this is this is when an officer has a reasonable belief that the subject of such force opposes an imminent danger of death or serious physical injury to the officer or to another person. Now, again, many critics argue that this is a former president, guys. We're talking about Donald Trump here, guys. And they're out here to gather documents, boxes of papers, not criminals here. Deadly force makes no sense. I don't even see why they needed to even bring guns, to be quite honest with you, especially with the Secret Service is already there at Melania's house. Freedom, thank you so much for the $10 super chat this morning. I totally appreciate you. Thank you guys so much, all of you guys in the chat. Thanks for tuning in this afternoon rather. But something else that's come out from this Mar-a-Lago raid is that it's plausible that Governor Ron DeSantis has been given the heads up before it even happened. So we got word from independent journalist Laura Loomer, who reported that Ron DeSantis actually had advanced knowledge that this was happening. However, he didn't give Donald Trump a warning. He got like text message notifications about this about to happen, and he didn't say anything to Donald Trump. I thought he was like supporting Trump now. I thought this rivalry between DeSantis and Trump was over. Anyway, wild things happening in Donald Trump's Florida house. Carrie Forager, thank you so much for becoming a member of the channel. Thank you so much for hitting the join button and supporting the channel. Catalia's in the house. What's going on, everyone? So I don't know why Ron DeSantis didn't say anything. I don't know if he thought like it was a fake spam text message or something, but I would definitely have at least said, hey, if I was Ron DeSantis, I'd say, hey, let me just hit up Donald Trump real quick. Let him know what I got. Hey, I don't think that this is anything for real, but I got this weird text message. Something's about to go down. Let Donald Trump make that call. Let Donald Trump's Secret Service make that call. Don't just keep that information to yourself, right? I mean, that's crazy. So anyway, independent journalist Lauren Loomer, she reported that DeSantis had advanced knowledge of this. Didn't say a word. And just kind of proved that this entire FBI raid may have been planned from the get-go. Independent journalist Julie Kelly, she uncovered that some of the classified documents that were seized by Jack Smith and the FBI, get this, guys, they were actually sent to Mar-a-Lago by the federal government. Meaning Donald Trump didn't even take those documents. The freaking federal government shipped those documents to Mar-a-Lago. So, I mean, meaning like that the Biden administration had held classified documents and then shipped them all from the government storage onto Donald Trump's Mar-a-Lago home. Sometime after that, they then charged the former president for possessing the very documents that they themselves sent. None of this makes any sense to me except for the idea that this was clearly an apparent setup from the very beginning to take Donald Trump down. How do you ship someone evidence to then later issue a search warrant to retrieve and then charge him for having it? Please, someone help me make some sense of this nonsense here. So anyway, now it's expected that nothing will be done about this, of course, given that President Joe Biden is still in the White House. But we have to acknowledge the situation that we're faced with here, guys. I mean, okay, so I guess this is a huge reason as to why they don't want Donald Trump back in the Oval Office, because they already know what Donald Trump's going to do. He's not going to just take all these hits and not hit back if he can get power back. And to be honest with you guys, it's not looking good for Joe Biden. I mean, Donald Trump is leading him in the swing states as the president's polling continues to sink. Joe Biden's polls are tanking, guys. Cowboy Rob, what's going on, man? Thanks so much for the $5 super chat. Cowboy Rob says, can you imagine it? Can you imagine the optics in the news if there had been a shootout with or without Trump being there? I don't even want to begin to think about that, man. But I mean, and it could very well have happened. There's nothing stopping them from that very scenario happening. They had already pre-authorized it to take place. This was a setup. This was an absolute setup from the start. And then you issue a search warrant to retrieve what you already know is there. This is complete bull. Terry Stratus, thanks so much for the $5 super chat, my friend. Terry Stratus says, DeSantis could not legally warn Trump. He would have been charged for interfering with a federal investigation. There's always a loophole. I beg to differ. There's always a way to, to kind of get around that. And something could have been done, I think. Ron DeSantis, he's a smart guy. He's on the inside. He understands how this works. A pigeon, a bird, a smoke signal, something could have been done to let Trump know ahead of time. I'm just saying. But to be honest with you guys, this is not looking good for Joe Biden. Donald Trump is leading him in the swing state polls. Joe Biden's poll numbers are the worst that they've ever been. And it's gotten to a point where Kamala Harris looks like a better option than Joe Biden. Joe Biden's not mentally fit. Joe Biden he's anti-American. Joe Biden is anti-borders. Joe Biden is anti-Social Security. Joe Biden is basically, he's anti-America. And it's not looking good right now for him. So, and in more bad news for Joe Biden, Nikki Haley, a staunch critic of former President Donald Trump, just announced that she's now voting in November for guess who? Well, Haley has now said she's going to be voting for Donald Trump in the 2024 presidential election. Now, this is big news because Joe Biden was planning on basically because initially Nikki Haley did not endorse did not endorse Donald Trump when she dropped out of the primaries. And so Joe Biden felt that since she didn't endorse Donald Trump, he would likely be able to kind of scoop up all of her supporters. Doesn't look like this is going to happen now. So a huge shakeup. This is really a big shakeup, though, guys, especially given the fact that Joe Biden, he's been trying to court Haley's supporters since February, I think it was, right? And so during a conversation at the Hudson Institute, Haley admitted that, hey, Donald Trump, he's not perfect on a number of policies, she said, right? But that President Joe Biden has been a catastrophe. So who's the lesser of the two evils, basically, right? So this is basically her way of endorsing Donald Trump to her supporters. So, I mean, this is another blow to Joe Biden's campaign as he's already trailing the former president in the polls. So, if Biden is already behind Donald Trump in the polls, this is probably going to be like one of those, Fast and the Furious nitrous shots to Donald Trump's poll numbers, and he's going to blast ahead another several percentage points, very likely off of that indirect Nikki Haley endorsement, if that makes any sense. So Donald Trump, he hasn't responded to this news from Nikki Haley, although he has already made some pretty big promises before November. Now, besides doing something for the economy and deporting millions of illegal aliens, Donald Trump has promised something that Joe Biden has failed at miserably. Donald Trump says that basically he promises to get more Americans home from Russia. Trump says that the first person that he would actually get home would be Evan Gershowitz. If you guys don't remember, he's the reporter from the Wall Street Journal. So Trump plans this massive, unprecedented, the largest deportation of illegal immigrants effort in American history. And he's claiming that he's going to get more Americans home from Russia than Joe Biden. He also says that a Trump win would have him released immediately after the elections, and that Russian President Vladimir Putin would do that for him while the U.S. pays nothing. Now, as you guys remember, President Joe Biden, he dealt with the merchant of death, Victor Bout, in exchange for WNBA player Brittany Griner. A lot of people didn't like the exchange and felt like Joe Biden was a poor negotiator in getting the American citizen home who was the WNBA player Brittany Griner. Some folks say, hey, this wasn't an even exchange. Here you had a very violent Russian exchange for a WNBA player. People were upset. People were saying that someone else should have been brought home, or that multiple people should have been brought home. I'm not here to judge that, though. Donald Trump is saying, though, that with him in office, there will be no need for an exchange, and that Gershowitz, the Wall Street Journal journalist, he would be sent home before he even took the White House. So give me your thoughts, guys. Give me some feedback on this. What do you think about this, right? Now, many experts say, they're saying that Donald Trump can't be expected to solve all the problems that we have within 4 years. I mean, of course not. Of course not. 4 years is not a lot of time. But it's hard to think that things could actually get worse. Joe Biden has done a pretty good job of that. So, but what do you guys think about this? Like, do you think that Donald Trump being in office will be a tremendous asset to America? Will we see some economic improvement? Can we see some inflationary numbers come down? I'd love to know you guys' opinion on that. But so the consensus right now is that the best option for Americans, especially as things are expected to get even worse under Joe Biden, Trump may be the only answer for America right now, given the current candidates. So I want to know what y'all think. What do y'all think, guys? This is some craziness. I mean, you can't make any of this up because it's all verifiable. It's all verifiable unless you're, watching fake news, right? Let's see. Have you seen nothing yet from my friends? Just checking the comments here, guys. Jazzy J says, I can see it getting worse. I certainly don't want to see it get worse, but I could imagine how it could. Kathleen Garner, let's see. He will put people in the places that actually have experience and know what they're doing. Appreciate your comment. Diana Rosado says, yeah, this is a poor exchange. Ann Messina says, all American people should come home. Thank you. Ross McCulloch says, Melania should sue the FBI and the DOJ for unlawful search of her bedroom. Oh, yeah, that's right. Because you had the FBI just putting their little grubby little fingers throughout Melania Trump's underwear drawer. I mean, like, what in the world is that all about? You think these documents are going to be under Melania's lingerie? Like, seriously, guys? Anyway, if you haven't already, I really appreciate you guys. If you take 1 second, hit the like button for the video. Totally appreciate you guys. I have so much more content that I will be bringing to you guys coming up later today. If you haven't already, please check out my previous videos down below. Also, I want to thank y'all for subscribing to the channel and sharing these videos, and I will see you on the next one. Take care.